Next Congresswoman. I'd like to come back in that minute, but first of all, thank you all for being here. You know, Kathleen said, come to this event. It's going to be really cool. We're cool in a different way, I guess. We have been joined by other great elected officials. Marcus Simon, delegate from Fairfax County. Marcus, I don't know if I should say this, but Marcus's family helped support me the first time I ran. I think you were in high school, and he has an incredibly brilliant future, does a great job in Richmond, one of the great rising stars in the General Assembly. Next to him is truly the star of the Senate, somebody that shows that you can win not just in Fairfax or Arlington or Alexandria or Nick Falls Church, but in Loudoun County, Jennifer Richmond. And Kyle McClanahan, Ryan McClanahan, school board member. Well, you talk about something that's challenging, try to be on the school board. Thank you for your service. And I also want to re-acknowledge, we talked about Ken Plum. Ken Plum not only has been the voice, particularly for public education and his decades of service in Richmond, but Ken Plum was even brave enough to be Democratic State Party Chair at one point. And anyone, and I say this is the former Democratic State Party Chair in Virginia as well, anybody that's willing to be a Democratic Party Chair at the county level, the magisterial district level, Patsy, or state level, ought to get two things. One, a guaranteed spot in heaven. And two, a lifetime of counseling until you get there, because you can never make all Democrats happy.
Amen.
But it is wonderful that everybody's here. It's a warm afternoon into summer. I want to make a couple of quick comments. First of all, why do we need LuAnn? The truth is, Congress deserves its negative ratings these days, because we've got a whole crowd, particularly in the House of Representatives, that just says no on any issue. Today, a whole lot of members of the House and the Senate and Joe Biden that came over, and we were standing in equally hot weather on the Capitol steps saying, you know, Congress should not, we just took the longest break in modern history, 7 weeks. We've got a crowd in the House that is already starting to threaten, if they don't get their way, shut down the government again. We've got a group in the Senate that won't even be willing to give Merrick Garland the courtesy and fulfill their constitutional obligation to at least hold a hearing on President Obama's Supreme Court nominee. They can vote against him if they choose, but at least give this guy a hearing. Give him the same fair shake that every Supreme Court nominee has had in the past. We said we've got an enormous national health care crisis going on right now. It's not as bad in Virginia, but there are over 2,000 cases of Zika right now in Florida, and that number is going to only exponentially increase. The House again said, we won't give you any money unless we take money away from Planned Parenthood, or unless we take money away from veterans. And how many more tragedies do we have to endure in this nation before we put in place at least some level of reasonable gun restrictions? And the most reasonable of all, if you are not safe enough to fly on a public airplane in America, you ought to not be able to purchase a firearm. Now, there's a whole host of other issues, like Zika funding, Supreme Court nomination, trying to make sure we don't shut down the government, a reasonable restriction on purchase of firearms. 80% of Americans, regardless of which party, would agree on it. And that's why we need people like LuAnn Bennett in Congress to make sure, you know, neither party's got a monopoly on all the good ideas, but we need people who are there, who are willing to get to yes. So do your part, and let's make sure we send a new congressman to Don't forget Jerry and Don. But I also want to talk about the national election.